Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Our episode today is we're talking about academic advising and some academic and classroom kinds of tips and tricks and advocating for yourself and all that good stuff today. Welcome back to Shocker's Secrets for Success. We're excited to be back again with you in case this is the first time that you're joining us. My name is Kim Sandlin. I'm the Director of Student Success at Wichita State, and I was an undergrad student here, first generation student. I've worked here for over 20 years, and as you can see, I'm at home. I'm a little more casual today because I'm going to go vote. So that's why I have on these crazy kind of unmatching earrings and all of that good stuff. But we're going to exercise. I'm exercising my right. I'm going to go vote today. So if you're watching and it's election time, then make sure that you get to the polls and share your voice. So, but that's me. I'm going to throw it over to Alicia for a quick introduction.
I'm Alicia Newell, and I too am a proud alum of Wichita State, and I have the privilege of serving as the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs, and get to work with students wherever they're at in their journey, and I think that's the best part of my job. And I'm excited to be here and share some secrets and tips to success. My hope is that you can learn from others and my own mistakes as a student, so that this journey can be a little bit easier for you.
Yeah. So the first topic of today's episode is advising and how that works and why it is important. So by now, if you're joining us, we are... Today is the 22nd of October. So if you're joining us around this time, I realize that some of you may be joining later. It's about time to start thinking about next semester if you haven't already. So what that means is that you need to be thinking about the classes you've taken and the classes that you're in right now. What's going well, what you like about them, and then look forward to the following semester. So what are you going to do in the spring? Given your experience in classes so far this semester, what have you liked? Do you like hybrid? Do you like online? Do you prefer in person? What does that look like and feel like for you? And then how do you best situate yourself to get the classes that you need and that has the right teaching method that you prefer and all of that good stuff, right? So it's important that you begin thinking about this about midterms, a little bit after every semester. It seems a little early, but we always have talked in these episodes about having plans, planning ahead, thinking about your experiences and creating the experience that you want to have. And we'll get to some of that self-advocacy a little bit later. But want to talk to you right now about the advising process. So our friend M, who's behind the scenes every week with us, is going to throw up on the screen a website for us. It's the academic advising website. So if you go to wichita.edu/advising, you'll see this information. If you don't know where to go, this website's going to tell you, right? So it's those buttons across the top, contact your advisor. That will be different given how you entered the university and where you are in your degree plan, programs, COVID information, keeping you on track. But then this piece right here is really, really important, how to make contact. Not everybody is going to have to see an advisor every semester. And as I feel like we talk about every single week, there are different requirements for different majors in different programs. And maybe you are required as a brand new student, as an incoming freshman or an incoming first year student. So I'm talking to those of you who are right out of high school or were right out of high school in August. You're required to work with an advisor for enrollment your first semester and your second semester, regardless of your major. So at this point, you have received a notification from an advisor to go ahead and schedule an appointment, right? So you click on that blue link in that email, and then you get to get connected with your advisor's schedule. If you're not coming directly out of high school, if you're a transfer student or if you're a continuing student, but you're not really sure sure who to contact or where to go for academic advising, this is where you go. So it will ask you in that how to make contact section. Are you a first year undergraduate? Are you a continuing undergrad, transfer, online, graduate? And it'll direct you to the right place. Once you click on those, and we don't have to click on those, thank you for showing. Once you click there, it's going to tell you how to where to go if you're on campus, how to get connected either via email or phone or whatever that may be. So most of you, as I said, if you're a brand new student right out of high school, you'll have to see your advisor, or I shouldn't say you have to, because it's a good thing. You get to see your advisor. That first semester, they pre-enroll you, they put you in classes, and then you have the chance and the opportunity to request an appointment. And then you have a required second semester advising appointment. And so that's what they're in the midst of scheduling right now. If you are continuing or a transfer student, you are going to connect with an academic advisor in your specific degree. So let me back up. Incoming students out of high school will work with the first year advisors out of the one stop. You'll work with your first year advisors, your first 2 semesters if you started in the fall. So the fall and spring enrollment goes through one stop. Then as you transition into your academic college for advising, then you will go and connect with your academic advisor in your academic college based on your major and all of that good stuff, right? So if you're an incoming transfer student, you connect directly into your academic college advising area, whether that's a faculty member or a staff member. Every college handles that differently, and what that looks like is different. And then if you're a continuing student, you'll also go through your academic advisors through your academic colleges. So now is really the time to begin to schedule those appointments. We begin scheduling before the schedule of courses is out, before enrollment even opens, because there are so many of you who like to see an advisor, which is great, and we want you to see an advisor regardless of any requirements. We want to make sure that we have the opportunity to talk to you in advance. So if you have any holds on your account, you need to be working now to clear those up. So what does that mean? For those of you who came in and you have a success plan, some of you need to have a success plan appointment with a success coach, for instance. You have to have that done before you can enroll for the next semester. Same kind of thing happens with your orientation requirement. If you came in for orientation and you already did orientation, that hold gets removed. There are some common holds that students have that do prevent enrollment. If you have a significant overdue balance that you owe money to the university, watch our previous episode on tips on how to handle that one. We talked about finances about a week ago. But if you have those holds that are preventing you from getting enrolled in your classes, you need to begin now, and you need to begin ahead of enrollment to begin to clear those up. Again, I would say the one that I see most common is an overdue balance of some sort. And so you really should be connecting with accounts receivable and have a conversation with them about what you're going to do to begin to pay that balance off and make arrangements if you need a payment plan or something along those lines. They will make those arrangements with you and work with you so that you can get enrolled for the following semester. That way, once enrollment opens, then you're good to go on the first day that you are eligible to enroll for classes. So how enrollment typically works is the Monday when enrollment opens in November. Monday, our graduate students and our honor students and our seniors get to enroll first. Then on Tuesday, the juniors, Wednesday, the seniors, and Thursday, the freshmen. That is all defined by credit hours. So while a lot of our freshmen come in by experience, meaning for orientation purposes and for first year advising purposes, the students that are right out of high school, right? That's what we're talking about. Those students go through a specific process. You're also defined as a freshman based on credit hours completed, not necessarily attempted, not necessarily currently enrolled in, but your credit hours completed. If you have completed 30 credit hours, you then hit the sophomore level. 60 credit hours, the junior, and 90 credit hours, the senior. So you need to know how many credit hours you have completed, because that will determine the day on which you can begin or you can enroll for classes. So when enrollment opens, again, the upperclassmen, the graduate students or honor students, they go first, right? So they're going to get those classes, then the juniors and the sophomores, and then the freshmen. So hope that makes sense, but want to urge you all to schedule an appointment to see an academic advisor. Again, regardless if you're required to or not. It would take probably the rest of the episode to talk about the differences on who has to see an advisor and who doesn't. That's why our general, advice is contact your academic advisors, either personal office. A lot of them will, like for instance, engineering, they're decentralized within their college. So if you are an aerospace engineer, you're going to contact Angela Blackerby. Okay. If you are in liberal arts and sciences, then you can go to the Liberal Arts and Sciences Advising Center and you can see any advisor who is available, right? And that matches your schedule, unless you're pre-med or pre-law, and then you see someone specific, right? So as you can tell, just from those two examples, it varies, right? So you need to be working ahead, have your plan, know where to go, visit that advising website, and that will give you the direction and get you connected. If you go to the wrong place, don't worry. It's okay. People go to the wrong advising center all the time. And they don't mean to, they just get there by mistake. And they're happy to, get you to the right advisor. Now, if you're switching majors or you need to do something like that, you may need to make a couple of phone calls to make sure that you're in the right place. You get your things transferred to the right location and everybody's good to go. Pretty much everything is electronic, so it doesn't really take a long time to make that switch as long as you're changing your major and you academically qualify for that major. There are some programs that do have some academic qualifications, but assuming you meet those, you can go ahead and get your major changed and see your advisor maybe in your new college or however that happens. If you're a first year student and you're changing your major from what you entered with at the beginning of the year, that's perfectly fine. You stay with first year advising and they'll get you switched to the appropriate advisor. So I hope that made sense. I think Alicia might have a couple of tips or tricks or clarifications that she might want to add. So I'll let her interject here a little bit. Yeah.
I think that's great, but I also remember, like, as a first year student or just student in general, sometimes typically around the end of the first semester, students may feel that they are not in the right major and they're not sure what they want to major in. And so the difference of going to an undecided advising or looking at what other career opportunities are available. And so this is also a prime time to connect with career services and do some career exploration with them. They have some various assessments that you can do, all free of charge, which will allow you to look at what you're passionate about, what you're really good at, and what are some of those things, those skills that you enjoy doing that can translate into a career field. And so making sure that you connect with them, and they are over in Brennan too. And so you can call them, email them, great office to connect with as well. In addition, making sure that you take this time as well to meet with some of our faculty. And so if you are, like Kim said, a aerospace engineer and you're going from your sophomore to your junior year, this is the time where you'll need to start looking at some very different courses in your curriculum that you're going to now specialize in. And so making sure you're talking with faculty about, okay, what do I want my specialty to be in my field? And how can some of your specific elective classes really help begin to build that foundation for what that next step is going to be? And so all great advice today. When in doubt, advisors can always guide you to the right individuals, places, and people. And so good luck with that.
Yeah, yeah. So good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
I think a lot of students get into majors based on parental expectations, or maybe not parent expectations, but maybe different family member expectations. I think a lot of students are told when they're younger that, oh, you're going to grow up to be X or Y or Z, right? And so you kind of grow up with that. But then if you don't enjoy that, if you don't enjoy it now, you're not going to enjoy it later, right? So it's important that you, as the student, come to that realization as early as possible. And if you are not enjoying your classes and you're a sophomore and it's your second year, and so you're kind of in these intro courses into your major and you're kind of getting your feet under you as far as, really the content of what this major does and career-wise, that kind of stuff. And you're like, not for me. The earlier you make that determination, the better. It's really hard to know early. It's really hard to come to that understanding later as an upperclassman that you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong major, right? Because if you change your major as a senior, most likely you're going to add a few semesters, maybe one, maybe two, maybe more, depending on the change that you want to make, right? So that's why it's really important, as Alicia said, to make the connection with career development, with the Shocker Accelerator program, to make sure that you're enjoying the content and then also have the potential to get a little work experience in there as well. So Alicia, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I think another great tip that is at your fingertips is when you go in to your degree evaluation, you can go and run a degree works audit in your MyWSU account, and you can click on a little tab that says what if. And the what if button is, what if I change my major? And you can go from, say, accounting. I think I want to go and now become a biologist. And so you're going to go from accounting. What if I change to biology? And then it's going to pull all of the classes that you've taken and it's going to populate it into that new major. And so you're going to see how many classes will transfer and then how many classes are left remaining for this new degree. And is it worth it? And sometimes it's like, man, like I'm almost there. I don't want to. And other times it's having to have those real life conversations. I think one thing that Kim would agree with me is that data shows students change their major at least 3 times in college. And so as a student, I changed my major 8 times. I thought I knew what I wanted, and then I took classes and I was like, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I changed the major, I got an internship, and I was like, oh my God, this isn't what I thought this was. And so getting that, test driving those majors and getting real life experience is so critical in confirming this is what I want to do. And so when in doubt, run your degree works audit, click the what if, and talk with people, get the experience and making sure that you are confirming, yes, this is what I want to do. But more importantly, nope, it's not. And it's never too late to change, as long as the end is going to be you will be successful and happy in your major.
Yeah, absolutely. I changed, my major as well a number of times. I started as a music business major, which is a really odd combo, because I didn't want to be in just all music classes. And then I thought I wanted to be in business until I took, what was it? It was either accounting or economics, which that's a deal breaker usually for our business students. If you don't like one of those, you got to have them for business. And so I was like, not for me. And then I went into liberal arts to do a little bit of exploration, and finally, found a place there after changing my major a couple of times there too. So it happens to a lot of people. And so if you are questioning that, do that exploration, get your feet wet if you can through an internship or co-op experience, to really know that this is the place that you will excel in. Because if you're not happy, going to work, you can tell through these episodes, I think, that Alicia and I really love what we do, because we wouldn't be doing that. We just decided, hey, we like to talk, and hey, we got lots to say to people. So let's start giving some of this advice out. But if we didn't love what we do, there'd be no way that we're doing these episodes, right? So we really want you to find your passion academically and professionally. So the other thing I wanted oh, sorry, Alicia, did you want to mention something? Okay. I wanted to mention something real quick before we move on, and I throw it over to Alicia for a while. Actually, two things. Sorry, I take that back. I'm looking at my list over here. Know that, and you've probably experienced this already in your classes, know that if you're in, say, an English 101 class and you have a friend in another English 101 class, it's very possible that you have very different assignments. You have different expectations, you have different grading scales, or your Blackboard is organized differently. Be aware that not every single section of the same class is going to be exactly the same. So that's, again, another reason why you want to work with an academic advisor, because if you prefer a certain teaching style, or you have the advisor knows you pretty well, they can potentially have a good match, make a good match with an instructor and you. Meaning that you know that maybe you have the same interest as this professor, or maybe you're interested in marine biology and you know that a professor is doing some research in marine biology and, whatever. Those are the kind of links that our advisors can make for you. So know that every single class, and again, you're going to look at what class is hybrid, or what class is online, what class is hybrid. How are those taught? I don't think we've mentioned the website to know how to find that information. And we made a lot of changes and improvements to how we are communicating to students about what to expect for the spring classes. That's kind of what I'm trying to say, I guess. If you go to wichita.edu/spring 2021, you are able to, there you go. Thanks, Em. The website's right there. So if you go to that website, you're able to, again, look up your classes for the spring. What do you want? You want an online? You like online? You want online. So these, this is how the class is going to be taught. If you like as much in person as possible, then you can find out if 50% of the class is going to be in person, or if less than 50% will be in person. There's a lot of improvements that we made, learning a lot of lessons, listening to students and what you need and what you want to make the better decisions for your schedule. So if you go to that spring 2021, it's going to tell you where to go on the first day of class. It's going to tell you how much is in person, how much is hybrid, is it all online? And then there's another great website that we just put out, wichita.edu/codes. And that explains what our internal coding system, which only makes sense to us as a student. You guys don't care about the codes that we use, but it is helpful in figuring out how each class is going to be offered. So what's the difference between an IIE and an IIS and an HYO and an HYB, right? What are the differences in those? So that codes website is also there to help you understand the coding that we use with our schedule, right? So again, when you have to take, we'll say English 102, there are a number of CRNs, there are a number of individual sections of those courses. So you can kind of see which code matches which CRN and get in the right one, right? So a lot of information that, again, it's kind of those hidden secrets that we're really trying to make sure that you all know about, so that you can make the best decisions for your degree plan and enrolling and choosing classes. So lots of stuff kind of wrapped up in there. One last thing before I send it over to Alicia. You all have academic advisors within the academic colleges. There are also some specialized advisors who help kind of on the periphery, but also support your enrollment and answer some of these questions and can walk you through the process as well. So some of you, when we say as an institution, go see your advisor, you may think of, a student org advisor as your advisor, or you, depending, on the connection you've made on campus, that may be your advisor, right? You may think about a trio advisor. So maybe you're in our student support services program, and you have an advisor there that helps you kind of review your classes and helps you pick classes as well. For trio, if you're enrolled in, or if you are a part of that program, right? So there are a number of advisors available, but we want to be clear that for enrollment purposes, you need to see your academic advisor. So either your first year advisor or your advisor in your academic college. The specialized advisors, again, can have the conversations and do some of the major planning and degree exploration and that kind of thing, as your academic advisors can do. But your specialized advisors are not able to sometimes do the technical work that comes with the enrollment piece and give you permissions and pins and overrides and all the technical things that, again, we have to do, and we understand that you're just like, can you make this happen? And we work with you to make it happen. So wanted to make sure that you all knew for advising what we meant, and that there are a number of folks across campus into many different units who are advisors, call themselves advisors, and provide advice for you, right, in specific programs. So at this time, I want to pop it over to Alicia, talking really about how you become your best self-advocate. So I'll give it to you, Alicia. You're on mute, my friend.
I was trying to be a good colleague. So advocating for self and taking ownership of academics. I think in advocating for oneself, it's really making sure that you know who you are. That's probably the best advice that I can give. A lot of times students, when I'm saying, okay, what have you done? What do you like? What's working? What's not working? It takes time for them to self-reflect on what's going right and then what's not working well, and what is it that you actually need. And so walking into a meeting with an advisor, with someone within a support area, being able to articulate what exactly is it that you need. And if you're not sure what that is, at least being able to articulate what's not working for you. And so knowing yourself is really important. So making sure, regardless where you're at, if things are going really well, if things are not where they're at, taking time to reflect and saying, okay, this is what has worked well for me so far, and I want to maintain that. Or I thought this was working and it's really not. So now's the time for me to shift and try something different. The other part is making sure that you're getting involved. Getting connected is probably one of the most critical parts of advocating for yourself. And that is getting connected with the areas and the resources that are put into place to help you be successful. And if you're not sure where those are at, making sure that you're taking time to ask and to, again, advocate and saying, can you help me get connected with this office? We talk in almost every episode saying that, Kim and myself are available anytime for questions. But also at any time, you can go to onestop.wichita or wichita.edu/onestop, and you can just put in a question there, and that will come up and give you a list of resources that correlate with that question. The biggest advice I would say in regards to advocating for self is making sure that you speak up. Speaking up when you feel that something's not right. Speaking up when you feel that, hey, I need help. Speaking up when, things are not okay, whether that's, class, your mental, emotional health, whether that's, studying. A lot of times I've learned that students do not learn how to study until they get into college. And they realize that there's this difference between studying and doing homework. And so making sure that you understand, and when there is a deficit or a disconnect, that you're speaking up to get the help and support that's needed. An important thing that I often get when talking with students is I find that sometimes when life is not going as planned, we fall into this helpless behavior. And as a student, I was horrible at math. I hated math. And so I always went into this course saying, oh, like my teacher doesn't like me. They just, they pick on me. And it wasn't that. It was, I had this negative perception of this subject that I used every excuse in the book as why that was the reason I wasn't successful. The reason I wasn't successful as a professional looking back was because I didn't take the necessary steps in order to put my best foot forward. I didn't go to tutoring. I didn't seek help. I didn't talk to my instructor. And so making sure that you know your rights and you know the resources, but you're also taking the necessary steps in order to correct those issues. Getting connected and being connected with others. Again, advocating for yourself. Sometimes it's hard for us to speak up. And so if you're not in a position where you feel like I'm able to go and talk to that instructor or go and talk to a department chair or a director, whomever it may be, talking with someone who can serve as an advocate for you and help you in that process. That could be your success coach within your college. It could be your academic advisor. It could be Kim or myself, any number of people, and just knowing that there's a ton of people on campus that are there on standby to support you. The next topic that I'll talk about and just touch briefly on is taking ownership for your academics. This is something that's a little different. It goes really hand in hand with academic advising because you are here not to get just a degree. And I'm going to share the best advice that someone once shared with me is that the difference between, you know, someone who attends college and someone who doesn't is that you are here to graduate and go into a career field. You're not here to graduate to get a job. And the difference is a career is something that you're going to grow in and you're going to love and you will thrive. And a job is really something you're just going to show up and do the work, the routine, and it's you're collecting a check, right? It's something that you're not really connected and passionate about. And so making sure that when we're taking ownership of our academics, that it's something that is fulfilling and it's something that we're motivated about. Something that we're willingly wanting to engage with beyond the classroom, something that we're able to self-direct. And so I know that when I changed my major the last time, I was really motivated to read course material beyond what was required. And so making sure that you are monitoring your own process as a part of your ownership of academics. It's not having someone dictate and tell you what and where and when you need to do it. You already know what it is. Everyone is given a syllabus, and taking time to really reflect on your own learning and utilize that as means to propel yourself forward and to keep moving. And as always, if you ever hit a road bump along the way, advocating for yourself and connecting with others to make sure that you get help getting back on track. Kim?
Absolutely. All of that, I couldn't have said better. A couple of things I would say, learning to advocate for yourself, just a lesson that a couple of students have learned the hard way is, you know, coming to a department, unit, whatever, and saying, I didn't get, you didn't answer my question. I asked for help and you didn't help me. I didn't get helped. When the answer was actually in the email that was sent, the student just A, didn't either read the email or B, read the entire email, right? So It takes, yes, we want you to advocate for yourself. We want you to tell us when we miss the mark on something or are doing something that is not right, or, whatever that is, whatever that situation is, we want to know, if there's a problem with something, and we will do what we can to make it better, right? But do understand, when you are self-advocating, that you have done your work on your end to understand the process, the procedure, the complaint, whatever that is, or know, that you may not have all of the answers and you're just needing help, in not such an accusatory, you didn't help me way. Because what we often find is, yeah, well, we kind of did. We sent you that email about 3 hours after you sent it to us. Because we hear that excuse a lot. We hear, well, nobody answered my email. Well, I never heard back. And then, okay, well, why don't you show me your email? Or in many cases, we track some of that communication that we have with students, because we don't want to miss. We need to know, did I send that out? Have I already told them about A, B, or C? And so we have some tracking that we do. So we know often what we've sent. And so if that's, again, missing the mark, or if that's not helping you, or if there's something wrong with that, we want to know. Another thing that I would say is, sometimes we hear students who are not connected, in particular people who are not connected, that, well, it doesn't matter. They're not going to listen to me. They're not going to listen to my, they don't care about me. I'm just going to do my thing and move on. Right. Not the case. I know, probably now more than ever, I would assume that you all are getting surveys in your emails. Probably sick of them. I know you all got a survey from me this semester. Any enrolled student got one from me. And that is to help us know what we need to do and where to spend our time, and where we have gaps in our service, and in our processes to serve our students. So you may hate getting those. And you may feel that I get a survey every day, or I get a survey every week. And yes, you do, because that shows how interested we are in trying to know what we need to be doing differently or better. Or maybe we just need to know, hey, how was your experience with this? Because we take often all of those, comments that we get back from all of those, hey, how was your advising appointment? How was your meeting with your success coach? We take all of that feedback very seriously. And if we hear it multiple times, then we can begin to see where the gaps may be. And then we can begin to fill those gaps and better serve you as our student, right? If there's something in particular, really kind of glaring that we've missed, we've got to hear that feedback from you. So when we, again, reach out, and even if you're not connected, those surveys are a really great way to let us know what you think and feel. You may not always think that we read through them. And you may not always think that we act fast enough to resolve an issue that you might have. But I know most of the people who are working those issues, and education is sometimes higher education in particular is kind of a slow process. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get change and to make change. But we do want you to continue to advocate for you, for yourself, for your needs academically, socially, personally, all of that, right? So do respond to those. That helps us. I know they might seem annoying, but that is our way of connecting with a lot of students who may not be connected in any other way. And so we really want you to give us that feedback. And then if you feel like you're not, being heard, then again, reach out to us so that we can explain what's happening or why it's taking time, or kind of explain what happened maybe in a particular situation. So no, it's a two-way street. Advocacy is a two-way street. You want to take ownership, and you're responsible for your learning. Your faculty isn't responsible for making sure that you understand a concept. You're responsible for doing that, and you need to take that on, right? And if there's a problem or if you need help, you've got to ask, and then we've got to act, right? So that's really what the advocacy piece, I think, is all about. So I think that is all of my advice for the day. Anyway, Alicia, do you have anything to add before we sign off for today? You're on mute, friend.
There was one thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly, and that is when it comes time to registering for your classes and picking the section that you'll take, not only the time frame that correlates with your schedule, but also the faculty member. And this is something that I hear a lot of students, they say, well, I'm going to go to ratemyprofessor.com. The one thing that I will share is that in utilizing some of those websites is that students are not reporting the faculty who are phenomenal, the faculty that go above and beyond. What one student's experience is not every student's experience. And so don't sell yourself short by not taking a class with a particular instructor because of what someone else has said. I always tell students, test drive it, try them out. You have 2 weeks in the class, and within the first 2 weeks, you're going to know if this is the right pace, the right instructor, the right learning style for you. And if it's not, it's okay. You can still change into a different class. And so that's my advice to you. Take others' advice, take it, but don't let it be the end all be all of the decision that you make, because you have to make the best decision for you. And that could ultimately become a phenomenal instructor, a mentor, someone who can help elevate you and get you where you need to be. Kim?
Absolutely. I think that's great advice, Alicia. And as we wrap up, absolutely, rate my professor or rate your professor, whichever it is, .com is not all it's cracked up to be, just saying. So really trust your folks, your advisors and folks on campus who really know those people and might be able to make a little bit better connections for you. So with that, I think we are at the end of this episode. So thanks again so much for joining us. Hope you're finding these helpful. If you have any suggestions for topics that you'd like us to cover, be sure to reach out to one of us. And we'll be happy to add that to our list and our collection of these secrets to success. So thanks so much for joining us today, and have a great week. We'll see you later.
Don't forget to enroll November 9th. Right?
There you go. And go vote.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.